Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Let's try that again.
Wow. Oh my
Hey
God, is it
guys.
the Vinyl Den?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Entertainment Now podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
I'm pretty sure it's probably the first time in a long time that I've stumbled over the intro. But
Yeah.
if you're watching this on YouTube, as you can see, I'm sitting in a hotel room still. So because we are recording two episodes back to back, but
He's,
just
I was
to
gonna say you've been there for a whole week.
yeah. But if you're watching this on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up, all that YouTube kind of stuff. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. What's going on, Ian? So last week you left off wanting to talk about something.
Well, just a little,
Let's talk about it.
once I started to think about saying something about it, I realized that it would make a good little anecdote. So,
Okay.
because I called you old moldy cheese, basically, because you said you age like a fine wine. I said old moldy cheese, basically.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that so when we go to Buffalo Wild Wings and stuff, we get the hot wings, and it's good to have blue cheese
I'm
dip.
old, so I don't get the hot wings anymore,
I,
dude.
I mean, either because we were just talking about acid reflux and all that fun stuff.
I get like
But
the mild wings now. I can't even eat
yeah,
medium.
yeah, no, I get barbecue or your honey
Yeah.
barbecue ones.
You're such a little bitch.
I am now because I'm not. My fucking stomach is,
Yeah.
but you get the blue cheese dressing, and I've always liked blue cheese dressing. Never had a
Yeah.
problem with it. But I got a Cobb salad, and on Cobb salads, which I didn't know at the time, comes with blue cheese on it, real blue cheese.
Yeah.
And real blue cheese tastes like what I imagine fucking toe jam tastes like.
Oh, I love
Oh, it
blue
tastes
cheese.
so disgusting. It's like
I,
and I mean, this is essentially what it is. It's like moldy cream cheese. It's got the texture of cream cheese, but a moldy, disgusting foot
ah,
flavor to it. It's
that's some good stuff.
and I was eating it. I was
The
thinking, oh my
when it
God,
comes to
this.
cheese, the funkier the
Ugh.
cheese is, the better it is.
You know what? I I
I will say
I'm
that, like,
when it comes to cheese, I've got a white man's palate. I just want fucking cheddar and cheddar, Munster, mozzarella. That's about the
I will
extent of
say
the
that
cheeses that I
some
like.
people are like coffee snobs. Some people are like
Beer snobs.
beer snobs. I'm kind of a cheese snob, so
Well,
give me the really funky stuff and
well,
like
you can have it because I fucking hate blue cheese.
ah
I could, like I said, I could do the dressing. The dressing doesn't taste anything like that,
yeah.
but the fucking real thing, ugh, disgusting. Disgusting. I've never had anything that because like there's a couple things I don't like. Mushrooms, for example. I don't like mushrooms. It's not because they taste bad. I don't like the texture of them.
Yeah. It's a
And
texture
that's
thing.
and it's a texture thing. And I would say the vast majority of all the things that I don't like, which is not a lot, it's a texture thing.
Yeah.
Blue cheese is it is the flavor, the taste is disgusting. There's three things: blue cheese, kale, and fucking arugula. Those
Yeah.
things should not be eaten by human beings. They're disgusting,
Fair enough.
and I don't like them. So
Fair enough.
that was
Look at
it. That
that.
was my
Ian,
anecdote.
Ian came with something to talk about today.
Yes, and now
There
I'm gonna
was
go. Bye.
peace. No,
Yeah.
there was one something I forgot I wanted to bring up last week. So if you listened to last week's episode, we were talking about a marijuana dispensary in the state of Michigan that opened up a lounge,
Mhm.
basically a weed bar, where you can partake with the products that you buy from them. The
Right.
thing I forgot to mention, and this is the thing that probably irritated me, the only thing that really irritated me about the story.
Okay.
So it was MLive was the website I saw the article on, and it had a little video that played. It was I think I saw it. It might MLive might have posted it on Instagram. That might have been where I saw it at. There was
Mhm.
like an Instagram reel about it, and it had this little video goes along with the story. It showed the guy that talking that owns the dispensary and why he opened up this consumption lounge is what he called it to go along with it. The thing that bothers me about it, it's probably stupid. It's probably something that most people would watch and just not even think about. But the very first thing I thought about while watching this video is of all the people they could have shown, why did they have to show a black guy sitting in the lounge smoking pot?
I don't know.
It just
Representation.
because if the way I looked at it is it feeds into a stereotype.
Uh,
It feeds into a stereotype that people and and it's not a realistic stereotype at all. Because more white people smoke pot than any other demographic. But the people that are fighting against this thing, this entity existing, this lounge existing, that's what they're going to picture in their head, right?
right.
I just thought it was like bad imagery on M Live's part.
Huh.
When in all reality, it was probably that was the only person in there smoking when they were in there doing the report. But
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point. But I don't know. I guess it just depends on who's viewing it, really, ultimately,
yeah,
and what they're
yeah.
going to take from it. I wouldn't have thought anything of it. I just would have
And
thought,
I'm
oh, they're
sure 99% of the people out there would think absolutely nothing about
right,
of it either. It's just one of those things where like popped into my head is like if some old white Karen is watching this, that's the image that's gonna be ingrained in her head
right.
is, oh my gosh, you're gonna have all these black people over here smoking weed in my neighborhood.
Mm, yeah, I guess.
When,
But
like I said, in the reality is that a vast majority of pot smokers are white.
well, I mean, just demographically, they're a larger
Yeah,
number too.
yeah,
The thing is that historically, to your point, actually, historically, when you have say you get a 17-year-old white kid caught with weed on him and a 17-year-old black kid caught with weed on him, they're going to get two very different sentences by the judge, historically speaking.
yeah,
Um, so the image of that kind of harkens back to, like you said, stereotypically speaking, to this idea that, you know, how many uh black men specifically are in jail even to this day for weed offenses when they
yeah.
really
A
shouldn't be,
lot. There's a lot of
you
them.
know, and because that disproportionate amount of black men to white men, if you put them together, yeah, of course, because you've got a lot more white men, there's going to be a lot more of them smoking weed,
Yeah,
but the vast majority of the ones in jail for it are black,
yeah.
so it's just, I don't know if
It
it necessarily feeds a stereotype, but
well, I
it
will say that like
sustains a fair.
the imagery created in the video, yes, feeds into a stereotype. It
Yeah.
creates an image in the mind of people that may not necessarily be
All
realistic.
right. But then again, arguably on the reverse side of the argument, and this isn't to justify it, it's also against it. But is it the same thing that you get with, like, specifically like college or collegiate or any kind of advertising where there's always a group of people and it's like you got to have your black man, your uh at least one female and most likely a female of color,
That
your
goes
Asian
into
guy.
last episode also when we were talking
Yeah,
about tokenism.
token, that's what I mean, whenever you're advertising like a college or I mean, to be fair, we see it at work. They got pictures up all over the place, and it's, you've got to have
It's always like
it,
the black guy and the Asian lady.
right. Well, you
And
can
they're
almost like
like,
check it off. It's like, okay, you
yeah,
got your black man, your Asian man, you
yeah.
got your
They
woman
have to
with
make
her head covering. I
they
mean,
have to make
that's
sure
stuff.
everyone is represented.
Right. And again, which is fine because it's important, but it also smacks of tokenism.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
We
I
don't
get
work
it.
for
It's
M
just
Line
I'm
to tell
live.
them M Live.
Yeah.
Right. I got we don't work for them, so we can't be there
M line is something a little different. Ian.
yeah, it's a little different. Well, it's something that I deal with on a lot more regular basis than I do with M Live. I tend to not watch or pay any attention to those articles and stuff, unless I'm
Yeah.
really bored.
Yeah, it's
But
one of those things I was scrolling through my feed earlier and I was like, oh, that's really interesting video. And I was watching the video, like I said, we talked about last episode. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Wait a second. Do they really need to use that video clip?
right.
Just kind of stuck out to me. I don't know. I guess I see things like that, but
Excuse me. Uh, yeah, I
what
just I don't know if it would have been any better if they just showed a group of people with, again, token it, you got your
Yeah,
black guy, your white guy.
yeah.
Sorry. Excuse me.
You having issues over there, Ian?
Yeah. The weather can't make up its mind, so my sinuses are going
Oh my god,
haywire.
I know the weather's been up and down. I will say that, like, as far as like go back to like the podcast itself, I did want to mention this last episode, but I am uh I'm behind because we always put the videos up on the YouTube channel.
You lazy son of a bitch.
So I was four videos behind getting them
Wow.
uploaded. They are all edited, they are all uploaded. All I have to do is create the thumbnails for them. Um, I guess by the time this episode comes out, there'll be 6 episodes, but all of them should be done by now. So
Oh,
yeah, it's because what I figured out was going on. So kind of, I'm sure probably no one really gives a shit about this, but
you're boring the shit out of me already.
I was I was having an issue editing the videos
Okay.
because I would go edit because I don't really edit the video that goes up on YouTube is like the raw video. I don't edit really anything in it unless I like one of us has to get up in the middle and there's like a 5 minute gap. I'll edit that out.
Right.
But other than that, I don't really edit anything out of the video. So I just like slap an intro on there, slap an outro on there, and then render it. And it ends up being like it's not really a big file. It's like a 35 gig file.
I mean, that's big, but
I mean, yeah, yeah. How
I mean,
long
it's
do you think
blue.
how long do you think it would take to render that video? Just
Uh,
guess.
Probably if I was doing one myself with, because with the videos that I do, those nowhere near that size, but I'd say 4 to 5 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So
But I'm doing when I do them, it's like full blown HD and all that other stuff. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the 35 gig file, it should take on my computer to render it 10 minutes,
Uh,
15, maybe 15, maybe 20. I'd say 10
mm,
to 20 minutes is like a good window.
okay.
It was taking 6 or 7 hours to fucking render these videos. And I could not figure out why the fuck it was doing that.
Mm.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, you see the black outline, right?
Uh-huh.
Around the pictures. What I figured out was so I was actually mapped that out and put like it was just like a gray or like a background on there, just so it wasn't just a black screen behind there. What I found out it was that mapping over the course of that 45 or an hour long video that was taking it so damn long to render. So
Wow.
as soon as I got rid of that mapping and got rid of that background, 15 20 minutes it was done.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So that's what was taking me so long to get these damn videos up every week because I was like, shit,
Mm.
I'm trying to put these together and it was like, uh, you know, the longest my computer will go without like shutting the screen off because it shuts off the screen, it stops rendering.
Right.
So the longest it would go was 3 hours. Unless I wanted to leave it on forever, and I can't do that. I'm not gonna leave my computer screen up for 12 or 18 hours until I can get
Mhm.
back to it. So it's hard for me to sit down and be home for a 6 or 7 hour span of time where I can go back in the middle and make sure my computer doesn't shut off
Right.
to get this video rendered. So that's what the big
Hold up.
the delay was for
Mm.
me getting the videos up on the
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
So
But
what do? You just left the black border as it is and just put them up like that?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like I
I
said,
don't think that'll hurt anything. I
no, it
mean,
doesn't. It doesn't. Like I said, our YouTube channel isn't like hugely popular anyway. It just
right.
uh but I don't know. I'm fine with it. Like I said, it wasn't
Yeah.
a huge difference. It's not like we had like because I really what I wanted to do originally was like put like Entertainment Now logo behind
Mm.
the picture, or whatever. But like once I realized the mapping was doing that, it's just like absolutely fucking not. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna.
So the
It's
videos
not
that
worth it to me.
I edit, I'm using HD source material. So, but they're never that big. And when they start to get that big, you start, because a lot of them are like HD um versions of older materials. So like
Yeah,
things that were filmed in the 60s, in the 70s, well, 60s and 70s.
yeah. That
So
stuff's like
there's only
all
so that's
upscaled.
it's all up. I mean, it's done professionally. It's source
Yeah,
material is done professionally, but
yeah,
you get if it starts to get too if when I'm rendering it, if I'm rendering it too high above what it's actually at, you start to get, you know, uh artifacts in the video. So I
yeah.
try to keep it as base as
Diminishing
it is.
returns.
Right. So I try to keep it just kind of where it's at. But now that you mention it, the parts that take the longest to render are when I add in titles and stuff.
Yeah,
So when I'm doing that, yeah, that makes perfect sense that the added stuff to what I'm doing is really what takes the time.
yeah.
So,
Because like I said, it's like
but
when I do Vital Den videos, those are like, maybe 15 to 20 gig, and those are done in like a minute. Like
right.
my
Yeah.
the Final Cut Pro is what I use to edit all the video and stuff. And on my laptop, man, that shit, it's a great program and it works really
Mhm.
well. It renders really well. It's worth the money in my opinion, but it's a
Right.
unpaid advertisement there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I don't use Mac material. I don't use Apple products. So,
I know.
uh,
So there was something I wanted to talk about before we get into our topic, and I will say that we did not get to our topic last week. I would not be shocked if we didn't really get to our topic this week either.
yeah.
But if you've been watching or listening to the podcast for the last any time in the last 7 years, that's kind of the recurring theme with the
Yeah.
show. But so I sent you a video.
Yes.
I was going to talk about this. This wasn't the topic last week. It was going to be like the side topic last week, but we never
Mhm.
even got to the side topic from our side topic. Does that
Right.
make, if that makes any sense?
Right.
So I sent you a video.
Yeah.
The video I sent you was, I don't remember. I guess I should probably look to see what the title of the video was. Give me 1 second here.
Mhm.
It was Separate the Art from the Artist is the
Mhm.
title of the video. This is on YouTube. This is a video this is a conversation between Anthony Fantano and a person that goes by the name of Duplee on YouTube. Were you familiar with either one of these people?
No, not until I watched the video.
I would not really recommend Duplee's videos because I've seen his stuff before and I've never been a big fan of his. I will say that
Mhm.
Anthony Fantano is somebody that he's huge. He's probably the biggest music critic anywhere on YouTube. He so his YouTube channel is called The Needle Drop. It started out like 10 or 15 years ago as a radio show.
Mhm.
He's got like 3 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. He has a second channel that's just titled Fantano, which is what this video was from. It's from his second
Mhm.
channel. But I will say, like, as far as his music stuff goes, I don't often agree with his album reviews. He knows his shit though. That's like you cannot argue that
Right.
Anthony Fantano knows music and he knows a lot about it. When it comes to his opinions on stuff, like I said, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he talks about. His videos are really well though. They're really well done. If you're a music fan, highly recommend checking out the Needle Drop if you're not a subscriber.
Mhm.
Like I say, he talks about a lot of really cool stuff on there. But the second channel gets kind of in the weeds sometimes. And so on the Needle Drop recently, so I guess I'll backtrack a little bit. Just recently, Kanye West released his new album with Ty Dolla Sign. It's called Vultures One. Anthony Fantano takes requests sometimes to review albums,
Mhm.
and of course, it was a huge album. It's the number one album on Billboard, so a lot of people wanted him to review it. And he did this whole video about how he was not going to review the album due to Kanye West's anti-Semitism and all the other really shitty things that he has said and done over the last couple of years and how it's permeated into his music.
Mhm.
As the biggest album or music critic on the internet, he was refusing to review that album. Duplee went back. Did you watch Duplee's video at
No, I
all?
did not.
It was
I didn't even watch the full video here. Like I told
okay.
you,
It was a
I
long
was.
video.
It's
So
a
this,
long video. It's an hour and a half and
yeah,
an hour and 28 minutes, and
yeah.
there's a lot of. I felt that at some points they were trying to be too nice to each other, and then
Well,
other times they were just
before
missing
we
the
get into
point.
that video, I want to give a little context to what
Right.
Dupley did. So Dupley has a pretty big YouTube channel also. His is about 100,000 subscribers on his channel. So obviously nowhere close to the, I think between Fantano's two channels, he's got like 4.5 million subscribers. So nowhere close to the reach, but he's still, 100,000 is, a really good following on there also. He did this, it's probably like a 15 or 18 minute long video kind of going at Anthony Fantano, calling him out, saying that this is what's wrong. It's this wokeism. It's this
Cancel culture.
PC culture that has ruined art.
Okay.
And that's kind of where this whole thing started. And so Anthony Fantano reached out to Duplee and was like, hey, let's go on Twitch, have this conversation. It ended up being about, I think, an hour and 25 minute long video, super long to watch. I've watched it twice just to kind of dig into some of it, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Well, I'm sure I missed some stuff, but
it was really interesting though, because I guess I'll let you kind of give some of your thoughts first.
well, I mean, obviously, I don't know either one of these content creators. I couldn't speak to what's the name of it? Fantano?
Yeah.
Fantano. I mean, it's impressive he's got that many followers, and if you say he knows his music, then I can accept that. But I've never watched him. All I can say is that from a surface perspective, he's well within his rights to not review anything he doesn't want to review. Period.
Yeah. I will say that, like, there was a lot of, like, he got a lot of heat from Kanye fans on
And
social
they talk
media.
about that.
Yeah, there's a big argument back and forth on Twitter about him not reviewing the channel, and how, people didn't feel it was right that he was trying to cancel Kanye. But like Anthony Fantano even said that, like, the conversation got into parts where people were like, calling him a Jew because he didn't want to review this Kanye West album. And he's like,
right.
this is
the point.
This is the point.
Right.
No, he's not Jewish, but like, if he was, why does it even fucking matter? Like,
right.
And we've even talked about on the podcast before about, how I'm somebody who's always have been able to separate the artist from the art.
Right. For the most part, I think there probably is a point that I think an artist could cross the line,
and that was
it would ruin
Anthony
everything.
Fantano's entire point of the conversation with Duplee
Right.
was, at what point is too much too much?
Right.
Where do you draw that line in the sand? Because Duplee's argument was, well, whenever you come out and say people should not be doing this because it violates this standard in society, all it does is feed into that more, which on a certain level it does.
Right.
That's why, you're right. Duplee was able to make some points, even though the conversation was fucking unhinged at some points.
Yeah, they kept it pretty calm, at least for most of what I watched.
There were several points, especially around the like hour and 5 minute stretch, where they really kind of went after each other. But Duplee had some decent points that he was able to make, even though I don't think he made them he wasn't able to really make them come across. I understood where he was going. He wasn't make the points though. The point is, when he says that, yes, when you fight, when you make a big deal about someone doing X, and you deplatform them because of them saying X, all you do is kind of create this like subculture of people that are automatically always going to back that person regardless of what they say.
Well, it's the Jason Aldean situation all over again with that. I mean, if no one had brought up that song, it wouldn't have been as huge as it was, because he's a mediocre country star at best.
Yeah.
And the song's not even that good if you take the racist overtones out of it, or undertones, however you want to call it. They're there, whatever they are.
Yeah.
If you take all that out of it, it's a mediocre song at best. And if no one talked about it, on what I would consider my side of the aisle, my, calling it out for what it was, if we had just left it alone, no, he would have sold 50,000 copies, and that'd been the end of it.
I think it would have been a big song. I just don't think it would have been as big as
Right.
it was.
Right. But because they started talking about it, I mean, that his music video got millions of views in a day
Yeah.
on YouTube. So all that did was, like, I mean, even people who don't like him and were on our side of the aisle, they're like, well, we gotta go see what this is all about. So it really just supports. So that's where I too do kind of agree with what Dupley was saying. However, I think I fall more on the side of what's his name? Fantano. Fantano. I don't know why I'm having a hard time remembering that.
Anthony Fantano.
Okay. But not in the sense that I don't feel that not reviewing something is canceling it.
Yeah.
So he has every right. It's his channel. If he wants to, I mean, if it was my channel, I wouldn't review Kanye stuff either.
Well,
and it may not even necessarily be politically motivated. I don't much care for his music for what it's worth. It's not my style of music. It's not, I'm not big on hip hop anyway and rap, but what I do like isn't like what he does.
Yeah.
So it's not something I would review anyway.
Anthony Fantano even like made the point of saying, the reason why he felt this way was because, Kanye has embraced a Nazi imagery, wearing a shirt of a band who is openly anti-Semitic, things like that. There's lines in Vultures One that aren't anti-Semitic. There's nothing blatantly anti-Semitic in the album. He makes jokes in the album about the whole anti-Semitic thing. So yes, there's nothing blatantly anti-Semitic in the album, but it's him laughing and making jokes about people calling him anti-Semitic when he's being fucking anti-Semitic in real life. So that's when this like Nazism and anti-Semitic bullshit bleeds into his music.
Right.
Mandy pre-ordered a copy of Vultures One. I asked her to email and cancel her subscription, cancel the order, because I don't even want to fucking have it. I don't,
right.
And I'm
and you're someone who's a fan of Kanye's music.
I have, the first time I heard College Dropout was 2004, I think was when it came out. So I've been a fan of his music for a long time, and I've forgiven him for a lot of the stupid shit he said over the years, because I think there is some of his mental illness or instability that has helped him become the generational artist that he is.
What does that mean, generational artist? Because they said that in
like a once in a generation kind of talent. Because that's exactly what Kanye. I mean, look, his music is, and it has been.
I don't know. I guess so, but
if there's a Mount Rushmore of rap artists in the 2000s, Kanye is definitely on that fucking mountain.
Well, like you said, I mean, I'm not a big rap person, so I guess that's why it doesn't appeal to me, but or I don't see that, but I guess from that perspective, maybe I just don't have I don't have an opinion either way on that, I guess.
So I think that his mental health issues has helped breed some of the great music he's created, but he's gone like over the deep end over the last few years. Absolutely.
Well, and I think there was one of the points that Fantano was making, because the conversation kind of initially started with, I mean, it's all the same thing, but mentioning Jordan Peterson, and Duplee saying how one of Jordan Peterson's books really helped him. And Fantano made a point. He goes, that's great. And
by the way, Jordan Peterson is a horrible fucking person.
Oh, I know. He preaching to the choir here on that. But what he pointed out was, when does the good things that this person does
outweigh,
or how long can that outweigh all the bad things that keep piling up?
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, Jordan Peterson is a terrible human being anyway.
Yeah.
So at what point, to the extent that he's, as he pointed out, he's close to losing his license to practice medicine.
Yeah.
Or psychology. I don't know if he's a doctor, but he's psychologist. Anyway, at what point does that, where you can have that distinction And does that distinction no longer apply?
Yeah.
You know, yes, that one thing. I mean, I struggle with that. I don't. First of all, I don't think we should be putting anybody up on such a pedestal that one thing they say bad can topple it, or nothing they say bad could ever topple it. You know, no one should
Yeah.
ever be on that pedestal anyway.
Yeah.
But I have a great deal of respect for Richard Dawkins. He's a evolutionary biologist. I've read several of his books. I've watched a lot of his I've watched him debate, I've watched his do lectures. He's a smart guy, and I agree with 99% of the stuff he says. But 2 years ago, he came out and was basically saying how he doesn't understand transgenderism, and how
Yeah.
it doesn't fit through his evolutionary biology ways of thinking. And as someone in his position, that's a bad thing to be saying, especially in this day and age. Um, I can't tell him not to feel that way. I can't tell him not to think that way. But I think
Yeah.
as someone who has a voice, he shouldn't be talking that way. And I haven't watched any of his recent lectures because of that. You
So
know
I've been holding a laugh for like the
why?
whole time we've been talking. Because when you said Richard Dawson, I thought you're talking about
Dawkins,
I know.
Dawkins.
I thought you said Dawson though, like the
Oh,
game show host from the
oh,
'70s. They had like the little skinny little microphone that he was talking into.
right. Wasn't he the one who kissed all the female contestants too, or whatever?
Yes, that's why I was like, where the fuck is Ian
Which
going with
which is
this?
funny because it's uh I didn't even, I mean, I probably would have recognized him, a picture of him, but I didn't even know that guy's name until fucking Mallrats.
Yeah,
When he's like, stand back, Richard Docker or Dawson.
Dawson. Yeah,
Dawson, yeah. But no, I was talking about Richard Dawkins.
gotcha.
So
So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, why is this motherfucker getting ready to laugh? Like,
oh, I'm
that's why.
I didn't even notice you were getting ready to laugh, but you
Yeah,
know,
I was holding it in.
I really just brought that up just to point out that nobody in the world is perfect, and
Yeah,
people are going to make mistakes. They're going to say things are that you don't agree with, and sometimes those things they say, whether they intended it or not, can be harmful to other people. And
yeah,
in those cases, I don't have a problem distancing myself from those people, regardless of what I thought about them before. And it may not even cloud how I think about them after, as long as they don't talk about that stuff. But you have to acknowledge that they said something or did something that could have an impact on how other people behave towards a certain group. And
yeah,
that's I feel that's where Duplee was missing the point.
yeah. Well, I
You
mean,
know,
the thing is, like, yes, well, Jordan Peterson may do good with his book, and he does like some self-help stuff,
which I don't. Yeah,
like Anthony Fantano we brought up in the video. A
mhm,
vast majority of the stuff he does,
is
the
not
reason he's doing like the talk circuit, going to camp, doing all these shows all over the country, doing the speaking engagements, things like that, is because he's also very like anti-trans and
mhm,
anti-woke and all this other
right,
stuff. That's what he's getting these speaking engagements for, not his self-help
right. And
aspects.
I should point out that Dawkins is not doing that, but
Yeah.
you know, eh, for whatever that's worth. You're right. Yeah, people wouldn't know Jordan Peterson if he wasn't the one out there doing debates against people about trans rights
Yes.
and in the position that he's in.
Yeah.
He wouldn't no one would people would buy his books, people might see some of his lectures, but
Yeah.
as a rule, he wouldn't be getting the vast majority of the work that he's getting and making the money that he's making if he wasn't being that level of contrarian
Yeah.
on those issues. So
And I will say that Dupley even brought that up in the video that, he at least he also does
acknowledges,
acknowledges
yeah.
that Jordan Peterson has a very troubled history around pretty much everything else in his
Mm,
life. But as far as like going back to like the art versus the artist, for me, and I think that Fantano was getting this point also. It's like when it enters into the art is when it becomes a problem.
right.
You can say what you want about Michael Jackson. Been a lot of allegations against Michael Jackson throughout his career.
Mhm.
Nothing was ever proven. He was never convicted of anything. But if Michael Jackson had songs about molesting children, there'd be a big fucking problem. I'm sure there'd be a lot of people out there that would stop listening to his fucking music.
I should point out that there is a song on Thriller called "Pretty Young Thing," but
Well,
he does.
there's
I'm just
also a really
saying.
popular song in the late '80s. She's only 17, also by Winger. But so there was like there was a thing
There's a thing.
in the
Yes.
'80s,
Well,
'70s and '80s.
well, even before that, I would imagine.
Ted Nugent singing "Jailbait." It wasn't so taboo back then.
Was it Scorpions had the album cover with a naked 13-year-old on it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was Virgin Killer was the name of the album.
Yeah, there's a lot of problematic stuff if you look at history.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth,
What
I don't
I'm saying
think
though,
Scorpions really paid much attention to their album covers, but
like the point that Duplee was trying to make in this, I keep wanting to call him Duplo, but because there's a Duplo blocks.
yeah.
Duplee was making the argument in his first video before they even got into this conversation. He was like using Martin Luther King as an example. Martin
Right.
Luther King did all this great stuff for humanity, for human rights in the United States, but he was also a horribly flawed individual, cheating on his wife and all this other stuff that was going on in his personal life. Should that negate all the positive things that he did in his life?
Right. But that's what, see, that's when Fantano pointed out that yes, that's true, but in the case of, say, a Jordan Peterson, where the bad far outweighs the good.
Yeah.
I guess everyone just has to have their own personal line in the sand. There has to be a line. There has to be a line to everything.
Well,
otherwise it's just chaos.
To Duplee's point, there shouldn't be a line.
Right. There has to be. There always has to be some level. Where it's at is not for me to say, because I think it should be a personal line.
So something else, I don't know if
Fantano, that this was a personal line, and he was well within his rights to do what he did.
I don't know if you saw the part of the video or not, but they were talking about Twitch versus Kick. So Twitch,
I saw some. I read through some of the comments, and I saw something about
correct. Twitch is a streaming site,
right?
So Twitch has a lot of rules on content about what you can and can't do on their service. So some individuals were upset about that and created an alternative to it called Kick. Kick does not have any kind of rules and regulations. What ended up happening was there was a very big streamer on Kick that ended up creating it was basically like a subscription service through Discord, where he was selling pictures of young girls.
Okay.
So what Duplee's argument is because Twitch has all these rules and regulations in place that pushed fringe members to start something new, that new thing that they created even more fringe people than was what was intended.
Like, isn't that the same argument that like
slippery slope?
Yeah, I heard that word that statement a couple times. Yeah. Isn't that the same argument that big business makes about regulations on them?
Yes.
Well, if you regulate us, it's just going to make the black market. That's true, but it's true no matter what. Did that lead to someone using Kick to do what he was probably doing anyway?
Yeah.
Or was going to do anyway, or find some way to do it anyway? Sure, that it may have made it a little easier for him at that point, but it's not because Twitch is regulated. It's because Kick wasn't.
People exist.
Bad people exist. And Kick, you know what? I've thought, and I've had thoughts, if I was capable, if I had the technological mind to do it.
Where are you going with this, Ian?
I think that YouTube would benefit from having some competition,
Yeah.
because I think some of YouTube's restrictions are a little draconian. However, if I had the ability to create a YouTube competitor, so a streaming service like YouTube, I would still have to have regulations,
Yeah.
because,
You have to.
again, there has to be lines somewhere.
Yeah. Or you
You
get
know,
somebody selling CP
right?
subscriptions.
Exactly. And if you had say something that was almost exactly like YouTube, without any of the regulations, it could get even worse than that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have it right on the site,
Yeah.
and that would be a terrible thing. There would always have to be some lines. I wouldn't pull a video because someone said fuck 5 times,
Yeah.
but I would definitely pull a video that was advocating for that. CP.
I will say as someone who does create content on YouTube, I know the rules, so I know not to, say fuck 5 times in the first 30 seconds of my video.
Right.
So there are guidelines. At least they're transparent about what the guidelines are.
Mostly, there's a lot of times where things will get pulled, and the content creators have to go through so many hoops to fix them, even though there wasn't, for the reason it was pulled wasn't necessarily that.
I would say that that's probably pretty rare.
Mm.
And you're also getting the content creator's side
True.
of their argument.
Right. That's true. But YouTube is using bots to filter all this out, and bots may not always understand they may not always understand context.
And there's a process, and everything is reviewable. Everything is disputable. There's a video on for the YouTube for Entertainment Now that we did a couple of weeks ago with Mandy on the show, where we did like a name that tune kind of thing.
Right.
I got, I think, 5 copyright strikes because of, not copyright strikes, but copyright claims against that video. And I went through and I disputed every single one of them. It'll probably be the first time I'll lose, because I've had, probably 24 copyright claims across the 700 videos I've done on YouTube.
Right.
I've done, several, probably at least 24 different claims on the videos, and I've won all of them.
Right.
So, but this will probably be the first one I lose. And, I think even when we recorded that video, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to get a copyright claim doing this. But, I even made the argument in my dispute that it should be technically classified as fair use, because it's during a game that you're playing. It's not like we're just like sitting there watching the video.
Right.
And
on top of that, we're not monetized.
Correct. This channel is not monetized. Correct.
Right. So if it's not monetized, who cares? We're not making anything off of it. It's not really a copyright claim. I don't see how you can make a copyright claim, because we're not infringing on anyone else's financial abilities.
But if they turn it into a copyright strike, I think you get 3 of those, and then they boot you.
Right. But but my point is they shouldn't.
So I disputed them because I didn't want it to get to that point.
Right. Yeah, and I'm just saying there shouldn't be any. If a channel is monetized, you're making money off of it.
Yeah.
I could see them watching it, but it's things like that. And to be fair, what really made me think about it was, if you followed our podcast history, we like to talk and make fun of conspiracy theory videos and stuff like that. But as a reaction to Donald Trump specifically, and InfoWars and things like that, YouTube has taken a very draconian position, and they've pretty much taken all those videos off. You can't even find them to make fun of.
I would say that a lot of that, I think, is more so due to InfoWars.
Right.
And it's, YouTube does not want to have a $300 million lawsuit.
No, but YouTube wouldn't be responsible for any of the content that's on its site.
That's arguable, and that'd be.
But it shouldn't be. That's where I guess that's where
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All it takes is someone to file a lawsuit against YouTube, and then
Right.
YouTube has to spend the money to fight that
Right.
through the courts.
No, all you do is, and I
to
thought I would just make it very abundantly clear right from the beginning that YouTube or whatever channel that you are has is not responsible for the content, because the whole point of
saying that doesn't absolve you from responsibility.
it seems to absolve Donald Trump from a lot of fucking responsibility.
Well, that's a whole different
Because
story.
that's a whole different story. But I mean, the whole point of YouTube was it was us. It was
Yeah.
people, just normal people putting up whatever they wanted. So, and to be fair, what I'm talking about is I'm not talking about like anti-vax videos. I'm looking for like
There was a lot of that too. I would actually say that's what really kind of kickstarted all of it.
Probably, but you don't lump the lizard people videos in with the anti-vaxxers.
But there's a lot of crossover there.
There is, but
so
that's my point though. I don't. It's the little things. I don't have a problem with them taking down an anti-vax video, but you don't take down an
anti-vax people do.
True, but I mean, looking at it from the outside and how we view regulation, I don't have a problem with YouTube doing that. I have a problem with YouTube taking down the anti-vax video and the lizard people video.
Yeah.
Because they're watched by the same people. Because the viewership might have crossover, but the content doesn't. And I guess that's my point. The line in the sand should not be drawn as a blanket line. There has to be some rational reason why anti-vax videos are dangerous. Lizard people videos are funny.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I understand.
And the other argument I make is,
I'm not saying you're wrong, but
right. And the other argument I make is when there's a video that gets a strike that demonetizes it, and you might understand this better than I do, but if my understanding is that, say you're a monetized channel and YouTube flags you because you said the word fuck and they demonetize your video,
you don't get demonetized for that.
According to what I've seen, people do. No. Their videos do get demonetized.
No, what they do is your ad revenue is reduced because they're not able to sell your videos to a wider range of advertisers.
Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah. Because I've got to go through and like rate because we released enough videos, I've released enough videos to where I'm able to like rate my own video when I post it. So I go through and mark whether it's got offensive language and stuff in there.
Right. Which you're very draconian about. There's no offensive language in Vinyl Den.
You're right.
Yeah.
very, very, very rarely. I think I said fuck once on there. And it was in the title.
I think you made me cut the only time I ever cursed, and I think I just said shit.
Yeah, no, you said damn a couple weeks ago on it, but anyway.
That's terrible. Potty mouth.
But so you're able to go through and rate everything, and like if you go through and click that you have offensive language, there's even a box that comes up and says that you will get less revenue on that video because of that. Yeah, so it's not you're not being demonetized because of maybe in like ultra rare instances, maybe, but that's not a thing.
Well, then it's just a deficit in my understanding of the situation, because what would bother me about that, based on my original understanding of it, was they demonetize you, but they're still throwing ads on there, so they're still making money, but they're telling you can't make money because of a word you said. Yeah, that bothered me.
Yeah, that's not really a thing.
But telling a someone who's pushing anti-vaccinations that could actually harm people, I don't have a problem with them saying you can't do that on our platform. Our platform is not going to allow that. I have no problem with that. But like I said, it's just it's the other thing. It's you're taking the serious and the silly along with it, and it can look far more
And
fascist than it actually is. You know what I
and I'll
mean?
also say that I'm just assuming here also that there can be an argument made of, okay, well, yes, my anti-vax theories are fringe theories, but you won't allow them on your platform, but you allow these other fringe
Right.
thoughts and fringe ideas on it.
And and I
How
would
do you
just say, because
separate the two?
it's very easy. Lizard people videos do not kill anybody or potentially risk anyone's health. Yours do, you
Yeah,
know.
I know, but I'm saying that's
And
I'm sure YouTube
for
probably looks at
me,
it that way also.
I think laughter is medicine. So I would think that even the lizard people video, you could argue, has some benefit.
I like lizard people videos.
I think they're hilarious.
There was one other thing I want to talk about because this whole Fantano Duplee video, I will say if you have not seen this, check it out. Check out the Neil drop too, because I do like Anthony Fantano is a really smart guy.
No,
He's a
he seemed very reasonable. He probably more reasonable than I would have been with
Yeah,
in a
and I will
similar
say that I
situation.
also if you haven't finished watching it, go back through and watch the at least the last half of it because they go into a whole political spectrum with that too
Yeah,
because
I think it's probably
Dupley
about where I stopped watching it.
Dupley does not live in the U.S. And he starts
I do remember him saying he's not a citizen.
yeah he lives
So,
somewhere else and he starts going off about
or
how
he'd say he doesn't live. He
there's
didn't say
a
citizen.
liberal slant to everything and Anthony Fantano's like what the hell are you talking about maybe where you live but that's not here in the United States there's not
Right.
you
No,
know
I mean,
because he was saying that liberals own a majority of everything thought ideas and you know all of it and Anthony Fantano's like what the hell are you talking about so
no, this
they
country has gone to the so far to the right.
I don't want to get into it, but I'm just trying to say
Yeah,
like check out the rest of the video because they go down some really interesting paths that really have nothing to do with the topic that they're talking about. And even there's a couple of times where Anthony Fantano's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like,
right.
because the guy would like go something like a, you know several minute long rant about something. And he's like, Anthony Fantano's like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, you're making like four different arguments about four different things there, but
Right.
so definitely go back through and check that out. But I wanted to kind of parlay that into a last topic we'll talk about quickly before the show ends. And I was right, we're not going to get to our topic. But
No,
have you seen what's been going on with Sean Combs, also known
no,
as
I
Diddy?
P or Puff Daddy or P Diddy and all that. No,
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I don't know anything about. Is
So
there a
there are some
scandal?
very serious allegations made to Puff Daddy or Diddy or whatever. I think he just goes by Diddy now. There's very serious allegations made by a music producer that lived with him for a while he was making his last album or his latest album, and like this stuff's been filed in court in New York, and this is like uh, Epstein meets Bill Cosby kind of stuff. There's sex rings. There are Diddy drugging people and having them have sex with sex workers and pornography, child pornography stuff involved in all
Oh,
this. There's lots of other celebrities, lots of other musicians that are involved in this. Um, it looks like it could be very serious. It looks very fucking bad. I'll put it like that.
okay. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. That's
Yeah.
shocking. I mean, it's again, like I've said, I'm not a big hip hop person, so I guess my Google feeds and my news feeds aren't gonna bring a lot of that stuff up because I'm
Yeah.
not, they've tailored to my tastes already.
Yeah.
So
I will say that the reason that this came up to me, and the way I saw or found out about this is because Anthony Fantano did a whole video about it on his
okay.
channel and actually linked. He didn't just talk about it. He
Right.
linked the actual complaint in the video too. So you can actually go on there. You can watch it's like a 15-minute video. Watch
Uh,
what him see what he says about it, and you can actually follow the link and read the full complaint. And the full complaint is fucking horrible.
wow.
I will say that like if 10% of the shit in that complaint is true,
He should go to jail.
it's fucking bad.
Wow.
I know there was one point where part of the complaint was that because this guy lived with Diddy while they're making the album, and he
Uh,
said he like woke up one night with two sex workers, and Diddy owned the bed with him, and he was like, they were drinking before, and then he's like, I must have been drugged. So there's like, like I said, looks really bad.
Which, I
And
mean, at the end of the day, is sexual assault,
yeah,
regardless, you know.
and that's why I said, like, that's why I was kind of parlaying the whole talk about separating the artist from the art into this, because Sean Combs is one of the biggest moguls in
Oh
music
yeah. And I mean,
of the last
he's,
25 years.
as I say, it's not like he's a newcomer. I mean, by P. Diddy standards or whatever, Kanye's a newcomer,
Yeah.
you know, because I mean, when he was Puff Daddy, that goes back to the early 90s, doesn't it?
Mid 90s.
Mid 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I hope, I kind of hope it's not true. But
Yeah.
you know, if it is, then I hope, you know, he gets hit with every, you know, legal recourse allowed to hit him with.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You know, I have to wonder though,
Yeah.
is it money that does this to people? Is it fame?
Absolutely. It's power.
Because I
It's
can't
power.
imagine. I mean, I know myself pretty well. I mean, first of all, I think most of that stuff's gross anyway, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine if someone came to me and gave me gave me an equal amount of power and money that these people get, these celebrities and I don't, it wouldn't make me want to do that stuff.
Absolute power. What do they say? Absolute
As a power
power.
corrupts, absolutely.
Perhaps absolutely. Yeah.
But it's not, it's fame and fortune, and I guess it is power in a circle,
Yeah,
in certain
absolutely.
circles,
Because
but
look
it's
at it
not
this way,
absolute
because
power.
yeah, I mean, it almost is. It is in their mind, because they have
But
so much power, so much influence, so much money. They literally can do anything they want. There are no rules to what they can do.
I would never want to do that stuff. Why would
That's
anyone
that
want to
that's
do
you.
that
That's
stuff?
you. And I will say, it's also, you're also talking about people that have been in that world, in that ring of power. They've had that kind of power, that kind of influence, that kind of money since they were young.
I
You know,
guess. I mean, yeah, I mean, I am talking about being in my 40s and getting that level of wealth or whatever it is.
can you say that there's absolutely no way you could ever? I'm not saying, you know,
And
essay or anything like that. I'm talking about, uh, can you say without a shadow of doubt that you wouldn't do anything nefarious had you had that kind of power and money when you were 22 compared to 45?
I feel like I can because I had a conscience. I mean, it
And
seems that
all,
simple.
and if you look at a lot of these people that do these kind of things, it's not something that like happens earlier in their career. It typically something that's 10, 15, 20 years in their career is when it all comes out, that after such a long prolonged period of time where they're basically gods in their world, that they take advantage of people in certain ways.
I can tell you that if something had happened, I became rich and famous in my early 20s, I probably would have done stupid shit. But
Absolutely.
it wouldn't have been that type of stuff
No, no,
because
and that's what I was saying also.
it's like,
I don't think.
I mean, at any point in my life would I ever consider that to even be something I would want to do, much less feel I could do, regardless of what kind of power I had. I mean, I'm one of those people that first of all, I think, they all have too much money anyway, but
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I think I would be more like a Keanu Reeves kind of guy. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I don't need a big fucking house and 10 boats and all that stuff. But I mean, that's not even part of the conversation. It's just I don't understand anyone's need to want to hurt other people in any way.
And that's what I'm saying is, I don't think that, I'm not saying that you do something that would hurt people. I'm just saying
No,
you
but
would
I
do
mean, I
things
know I would do
that kind of.
I would have, yeah, I would have blown a lot of money. That's what I would
Yeah.
have done. I would have spent money that I shouldn't have spent.
Yeah.
At that time, I probably would have had 10 boats and a giant mansion, and I
Stripper
would have.
parties on your boat.
I don't know if I would have gone even that
I
far,
was
but
throwing a stripper party on your boat.
yeah, I. Well, see, the thing is that even then, I would have been conscious of the fact that if I'm having a stripper party, there's going to be other people who are rich at the stripper party, and I would be worried what they're going to do to the strippers. Even back then, I think I would have felt that way. Because I mean,
I don't know.
we had examples of things like that. The movie A Very Bad Thing, isn't that the one where they had
Yes.
they bring the stripper over, she gets
Yeah.
killed? I mean, that would be in my mind to be like,
That's why you should do it in
what?
international waters, so you just throw bodies over the side of the boat. Just joking.
And now we know where Nick stands on all this. But
No.
I guess my point is that um I don't know. I just yeah, I don't have a problem with I'm a sex positive person, so I don't have a problem with strippers if that's what they want to do. And I would, if I had the money, sure, I could have a stripper party. But in the back of my mind, I'd always be worried that, or at least concerned about their safety.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that I think. And I feel like I've always been that way.
Okay.
And that's why I don't understand how these people get to this point. Because even if I had all that, I would still think that way. And I can't, and it's so many. It's one right after the other. I'm starting to question whether or not humans in general have a fucking conscience, even though we have the concept of it. We understand what guilt
Because
and empathy is,
and that's the thing
but people don't seem to have it anymore.
I've said for a long time is like, don't meet your idols.
Right.
If you are a huge fan of a musician or a huge fan of an actor or an athlete, don't meet them because you will be disappointed 99 times out of 100 because a lot of people are just not great fucking people.
Right. Well, I've been lucky. So the few celebrities that I've met, I mean, I wouldn't call they're not huge celebrities. They're like B-level celebrities. But they've all been very pleasant people. At least in meeting them. They've all been very
Yeah,
pleasant people.
yeah. But that's in
You
a
know,
like that's always in a like a setup situation though. I'm talking like
true.
running into the people
On the street or
on the
something.
street or in the bathroom or in a
Right.
restaurant or something like that
Yeah.
out in their regular life. Most of the time, they're not what you have built up in your head,
Oh, of course. Of
and a
course
lot of
not.
times they're not great people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Obviously, I don't think very many of them rise to the level of
Well, I think it's
Diddy and
probably
Essay and things like that. But
the probably the standard thing is they're just going to be jerks.
yeah,
They're just going to, just jerk. They'll be a jerk. I don't want,
unless I'm your idol and you meet me because I'm a great fucking person.
Nick, you're not my idol.
I'm just saying not you.
I would say
Listening to that.
I know my point is that you're not my idol, but I can tell you I don't want to know you.
No, whatever. I'm a great person.
And I should point out that in this podcast, you've already pointed out how best to dispose of stripper bodies.
International waters, baby.
Yeah. So, I would say that in terms of whether or not you're a good person or not,
Whatever.
there's reason to debate the question.
But all right, well, we didn't get to our topic, so
No.
maybe we'll get to that.
And I guess
next.
more to come on Sean Combs. I suppose.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it again once because I'm sure we'll learn more about it over the coming weeks. But if you got any questions or comments, you can email us at entnowpod@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube. Make sure you give us the old thumbs up,
Thumbs up.
drop a
Yeah.
comment, all the YouTube kind of stuff. Make sure you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review on Spotify, and that's about it, man. You got anything else to add?
No, just people
Don't
have
be a
fucking
horrible person.
yeah. Don't be have a little empathy.
Yeah,
That's it. Just be fucking human.
yeah.
Anyway,
Don't be a disgusting pig of a
right.
person.
I think that's giving. If what you're describing is accurate, then I think you're giving pigs a bad name because at least
Well,
pigs produce tasty bacon.
that's I'm not bacon.
I know, but I like ham
I'm
though.
not really a meat person, so and people are always kind of surprised when I say that too. But
Well, I'm surprised because I've seen you barbecue. So
I know, but like, if I never ate meat again in my life, I wouldn't fucking care.
Yeah,
I could live off. I want to live off sushi. That sounds so good.
but there's meat in sushi. Some.
Well, fish. I know, but that's why I was pescatarian. I was
Yeah.
pescatarian for a while because I didn't want to give up eating sushi. So, but you can eat California rolls, and there's no sushi in that.
Well,
I mean,
there's
there's no seafood on that. Is what I meant.
the California rolls have crab meat in them.
No, they don't. California rolls have nothing but vegetables in them.
Well, the
It's
ones
like
I've seen
vanilla.
have the imitation crab meat in them,
Oh,
and they're called California rolls.
nah.
And the thing,
Well, all right, man. Anything else to add?
no.
I mean, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the rain.